Alright everyone, welcome back. What we're going to do now is open up our Sogotrade account, and we'll walk you through every single step of the way. Now if this isn't what you want to do and you want to use a different broker, or perhaps you already have a brokerage, that's okay. You can just scroll to the bottom of this page, click on Mark as Complete, and then you can progress through the lesson. Obviously, for those of us that do want to open up a Sogotrade account, the first thing to do is go to sogotrade.com and click on the big orange button that says Open an Account. The first thing it'll do is ask you if you're a legal U.S. resident. You can progress without this, you just have to select your citizenship. And as far as I'm aware, you can become a member of Sogotrade from any country in the world. Now for me, I am a legal U.S. resident, so I'll progress this way. On the next page, it'll ask you for some personal information. I'll pause and come back to this, but first let's scroll to the bottom and make sure that everybody's understanding what the PIN numbers and security phrases and images are. Anybody who has your username and password can access your Sogotrade account, but they won't be able to do any trades unless they know your PIN number. So this is an extra layer of protection. Whenever you want to trade with Sogotrade, you have to enter your PIN number first, and then you can start placing your trades. It's just one more layer of protection that'll protect you. What I don't recommend is using your actual bank account PIN number, because if somebody gets access to this, then they also have your debit card's PIN number, which is even worse. So pick something that you'll remember. Don't pick your birthday, but pick something that'll work for you. Secondly, there's the personal image and personal phrase. If you ever log into your account and you don't see the image or phrase that you selected here, then you know that somebody accessed your account, and you should call Sogotrade for that. If you do see your personal phrase and image, then that means your account is still protected. I've never personally had a problem with this, but it's just one more layer of protection to be aware of to keep your account safe. What I'll do now is pause and then enter my personal information. When I come back, we'll be on the next screen. Alright, I'm on the next screen now, and it'll ask you to enter your account type. There's a couple of different ways to approach it, and I would encourage you to watch the video on IRAs and individual accounts before you make a selection. But if you don't need to do that, then consider just one thing. Are you going to deposit more than $5,500 per adult in your family per year? So if you're married, you and your wife, are you going to deposit more than $11,000 into your account per year? If the answer is yes, go ahead and choose individual account. If the answer is no, then make your selection between traditional and Roth. To make the decision between those two, ask yourself, are you in the highest tax bracket? Are you making more than something like $375,000 a year? If the answer to that is yes, then I would encourage you to choose traditional. If the answer is no, then go ahead and choose Roth. It's that simple. There are some more things to consider, but those questions should be enough for the vast majority of people to make a decision. I plan on depositing more than $11,000 for myself and my wife, so I'm going to choose the individual account. In order to use the strategy that we use at Kamikaze Cash, you need to choose a margin account, which requires that you're 20 years or older. There are still some things that you can do with a cash account, but you cannot trade options the way we trade options without a margin account. We don't borrow money, so don't concern yourself with that. This is just a way that the brokerage manages the finance in your account. You have to choose margin in order to do that. It'll ask you now the typical size of our transactions. This is going to be up to you, but most of the time we're working with $0 to $10,000. We may buy stocks that are going to be worth more than that, but when it comes to options, there's no way that we're ever going to touch these ones. So go ahead and pick the first category. Obviously, years of investing in stocks is going to be up to you. That's fine. For me, we're looking at 9 years, so that's what I'll enter. The average number of trades that we're actually going to make per year is probably in this category, 25 to 74. We may go beyond that, but this is just asking about stocks trades and not options trades. So as for stocks, we'll be here, 74 or less, down to 25. Of course, we'll be doing options trading, so we need to select that. There's different levels of options trading, and this is going to be confusing for a lot of people. What we do caps out at level 4. Level 5 options trading and level 6 are extremely high risk. We are never going to write uncovered calls, and we are not going to do naked index calls and puts. That's a great way to end up bankrupt. We definitely cap out at level 4, but you can do 90% of what you need to do at level 2. There's different criteria that Sogotrade is going to use in order to determine what level of trading you actually authorize to do. But you can select as high as you want to, and then Sogotrade will downgrade you. So I would encourage you to select level 4, and if Sogotrade decides that you don't have enough experience, you're not going to be trading enough, or whatever other reason they want to, they can just downgrade you. And I can't imagine they would push you below level 2. So at least you'll be able to do 90% of what our strategy calls for. The typical size of our options trades is going to be in this category here. Actually, as a matter of fact, yeah, we should be fine. Like I said, we're not going to touch anything beyond $10,000 on an options trade. That's just ridiculous. Years of investing in options, again, is up to you. I'm looking at about 7, so that's what I'll enter. And the average number of options trades per year will be in the same category, 25 to 74. We may push beyond that a little bit, but it shouldn't really matter. Just select 25 to 74, and you'll be consistent with our strategy. All right, so when you're ready, all you do is click Next, and we'll move on to the next screen. All right, on the next screen, it'll ask you for some personal information. There's nothing here that should be confusing for you. As far as employment status goes, if you're a student, just be aware that it does say student here. If you're employed, you can select employed instead, and don't look for anything that says student. Student, it's right here. And that should be about it for this screen. I'll pause again, and then I'll enter my personal information. When I come back, we'll be on the next screen. Once again, on the next screen, it'll ask you for some more personal information. Make sure you're giving them an address that you can actually receive mail at. If you can't do that, then be sure to select this box. Every year, Sogotrade will send you some materials via mail. They're mostly because of the companies that you own. Companies will ask you for your vote on company matters, things like that, and they need to send you physical mail rather than email. They're going to send it to you. So just make sure you're giving them an address that you can receive mail at. All right, I'll enter my personal information once more, and when we come back, we'll be on the next screen. On this screen, it's going to ask you for some information regarding the legality of your account. I don't think that anybody on here is going to be pressing yes on any of these questions, and in fact, I can't even give you any advice if you do need to select yes for this. If you're a 10% shareholder of a company, then you probably don't need my advice for anything. Everybody else, just click no. Unless one of these applies to you, then click yes and figure out what it does from there. The rest of us will click no, and we can continue on that way. The next screen is going to ask you for your income information. This is so that Sogotrade can verify what level of options trades they're going to give you, what type of access to their trading platform you need to have. Enter whatever is true for you. Simple as that, and Sogotrade will give you an appropriate account. I can't imagine a circumstance where they wouldn't give you at least a level 2 options trade, because when I first signed up to Sogotrade years ago, I was a student making about $3,000 a year selling my blood plasma, and they still let me have a level 3 options trading account as an individual account. So go ahead and enter whatever you need. As far as your investment objective, it's important that you select speculation. Even though the strategy that we use is very conservative and it's all about limiting our risk, we need to select speculation so that we have access to the tools that we need. We won't be doing any speculative trading, but the tools that we need are consistent with what a speculator would use. So make sure you're selecting speculation. As far as investment experience, by the end of this, you'll be at least good. I'll select extensive, but if you're not extensive in your experience, just click good. And by the time you finish our free lessons, you'll be there. Risk tolerance, you need to select high. Even though in reality, we're not going to be doing many high risk trades, select high so that Sogotrade will allow you to have access to the tools that we need. And your tax bracket, obviously, whatever applies to you. This is above 450,000. This is below 10,000, something like that. If you don't know what yours is, just Google tax brackets, figure out what your annual income is, and then you can determine it from there. As far as time horizon, I'd imagine it would just be best to go with longest. If you're planning on withdrawing money earlier than that from your accounts, then you can select shorter. But for me, I plan on leaving my money where it is for a while, so I'll select longest. On liquidity needs, it's important that we select not important. Liquidity is how quickly you can actually turn all of your investments into cash. And if you're trading options and things like that, it can take a longer time to do that. We're talking about 3 days as opposed to 1 day. But as far as the brokerage is concerned, selecting not important makes it applicable for you to be able to trade options. Alright, so I will select my personal information, and when we come back, I'll be on the next screen. On the next screen, it's going to ask you to upload a document to verify your identity. The best way to do it is just take a picture of your driver's license, email it to yourself, and then select the file from here. It shouldn't give you too much of a hard time. If it does, just click the back arrow, click forward, and then it should allow you to upload it at that point. There are also some documents down here that I would encourage you to at least look over. Options trading in particular, realize what you're accepting. I'll walk you through everything, so don't worry about it too much if it sounds confusing. It's not really difficult to do what we're doing with our strategy. But I would encourage you to at least take a look at all these documents. I don't expect anybody to read every single one of them verbatim, but at least take a look and know what you're getting yourself into. And then when you're done with that, click I agree, make sure your document is uploaded, and then we are good to go. So I'll upload my information, and then I'll see you on the next screen. Once you click continue, congratulations, you've done everything you need to do to set up your account. Wait a couple of business days, and then you'll have an answer about what level of options they've allowed you to trade, how your account is set up, etc. So you should be able to get an email. You just click on the link and it'll take you right to verifying your account, and you should be good to go. Now today is June 11th, 2017, and look here, they've got a promotion going on. If you deposit $10,000 or more into your Sogotrade account, you'll get $3 commissions for the next 12 months, which is fantastic. Normally, it's about $4 per trade, and over 1 year, that extra dollar can add up significantly. I'm talking about saving a good $100, $150 a year, which is some extra gasoline, so it's pretty nice. Alright, that should be it for this video. If there's any questions, leave them in the comments and I'll get back to you. Otherwise, happy trading.